I'm Mr. James,
And I'm Mr. Richie.
and we
We
are
are
the
the educators.
educators. Oh my God, summer is killing
Yep.
me, and not you though.
No, I
Uh,
think we've taken two different paths on this summer,
uh,
and what's happening in your world?
a lot of stuff. Well, it's July 16th. It is 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I just finished a day of summer school that starts at 7 a.m. and goes till noon. And then I finished a 2 hour workshop that I had to finish 3 days in a row for this. I guess I got money for instruments for the school, and their prerequisite was you need to take these workshops, which was basically if I didn't know how to play all these instruments, which I have known for 20 something years, I've also taught professionally for 16 years, then it would have been like probably a great workshop. But it was a lot of like, oh no, another workshop sort of thing.
Tedium,
Yeah. And this is the third week
repetition.
finished of summer school. And some days these kids have been out their throat at each other's throats this week. It's been pretty rough. And I got a bit of a cold. I'm finishing up, and I've got a crazy long rehearsal tonight with a wedding band that has like a number of gigs, over the next few months. And I've got a 4 hour show tomorrow with another band that's going to be starts at my bedtime and goes till 1 a.m. in the morning. And last time I stayed up to 1 a.m., I don't even know. Maybe that was like 15 years ago, or no, or last crazy gig I had basically with this band, which could be like 3 years ago. But I'm just not in a good mood. This sucks.
I hope that gig is worth it, but I do have to mention about the cold thing. Look what happened
Yeah,
without masks
I
all of
know.
a sudden with close quarters, and you haven't had a cold in almost 2 years, and that is so just the way it is. I think I'm going to start wearing a mask again when I go out more often now
Yeah.
because the numbers starting to go back up, and like I don't know, it's kind of nice wearing a mask sometimes.
I do wear it when I go out in public for, around adults and stuff like that. And the school, I've always been able to make a lot of ventilation. And I say we're from students, and of course, students don't have any problems with their, I check to see if they had a cold or anything like that, and they have tissues nearby and
Yeah,
everything. But I don't know.
it's
I
just the
just
way it
think my
works.
my immune system hasn't had that yet. But it's not really affecting me that bad. It's not like I've stopped working out. I mean, I was lifting weights for my legs this morning. I'll prove it to everybody. I never do this on the podcast, but check this. These, yeah, I can see it a little bit. Yeah, on with me there. But yeah, I could feel it. I was like, this is a little rough. Okay, I could keep that vitamin D up. I'm going to keep up my omega-3s, all my other things I'm taking, lots of liquids, but it's just I don't know. I'm just not having fun. Summer's not a vacation for me. It's been work. I haven't seen the money yet. I guess it's a big
Oh,
thing.
yeah, right. I
Got
guess
to pay
that's
to
true.
play. So what
Well,
have you been doing on the
yeah,
opposite
so
end of
I'm
the spectrum?
on the opposite end of the spectrum. Oh, my band battery is low. It's that notification.
Yeah, mine
Um,
got pretty low the other day.
that's 10%. So yeah, I went the opposite direction for a few reasons. Did not get a job, and that's unusual for me. And so I usually work during the summer. Last summer, I had planned on working in a restaurant again, which I had done like the previous year. And of course, COVID happened, and I was like, yeah, the last place on earth I think I'm going to be for a long time is in the back of the house at a restaurant right
Yeah.
now. And so this year, I thought for a long time, I was going to get another job. I might have even done summer school. I had planned on doing one of the other, whatever paid more. And honestly, summer school probably would have. But then I was just like, this whole year took a lot out of me. I was stressed. I took a lot out of everyone, I know, but I was just so stressed by the end of it that I was starting to have like physical symptoms, and just decided to take off. Not take off. It's not a super whole vacation because I've still got a wife, I've got a kid, I've got a house. So I'm doing a lot more cleaning, a lot more picking up, which is kind of nice because the house looks great right now. The
Yeah.
yard is mowed, and the trash has to be done, but It's not perfect, but I've also been able to like work on my project car, work on a few other projects. I developed some rocket fuel with me and my
Yeah, oh
daughter.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, some homemade rocket fuel. We're gonna eventually hopefully fly a rocket or two with it. Um, so like just kind of passion projects. Maybe an hour or two a day, which is an hour or two more than I got at all over the last year and a half. Like I really didn't do anything for fun during the whole pandemic. All my fun kind of went away. The most fun I had, I mean, well, doing this podcast was interesting, but it was like exciting, fun, getting out and doing things. So now this morning, let's see, I went on a mile jog, did some weightlifting, a little bit of boxing.
Oh,
Feeling pretty good these days, staying hydrated myself. Luckily, I haven't been around a lot of people,
yeah.
so I haven't gotten a cold yet. I know it's coming as soon as school starts. No masks. I just assume that we're just going to be inundated with sniffles, and
Yeah.
I'll be teaching with a mask as soon as I get the sniffles, because I hope to normalize.
Yeah, luckily there's no
Hearing
sniffles
people
from me.
say
It
it.
was just basically having my a little bit of a throat feeling a little tingly and stuff like that. And I thought it was because I
Yeah.
lost my voice having to co- constantly repeat myself to students to be respectful and not make fun of other
Oh,
students, which they, for some reason, fifth, sixth, and seventh graders have a problem doing. They always want to make fun of or have a nice snarky comment to make. And when they all are fighting for that snarky comment to make, like it's Mystery Science Theater 3000, they have to make a funny comment about everything. And it's like, enough, okay?
yeah.
Because they always, it's always about bullying and stuff. And I'm like, I told them, I said, it's not funny. I go, you're not a funny person. You're not funny doing this. I go, if you really think it's so funny, write those down. I'll read them after and we can check notes. You could become a comedian. Like just write them down. I don't want to write them down. I'm not doing that. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not, okay. Why are you part of this
Yeah.
program? It's a summer
Yeah.
program. Like they've already been read that their Miranda rights for the program
If you don't want to be
over and
here,
over again.
do us all a favor.
Yeah, it's such a, but I mean, it comes together, and the thing we know about being elementary music teachers in general is that whatever we say to a student one day, we come back the next day, it's like it's a blank slate. They forgot everything. There usually is not that sentiment where they remember.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I just have students
No.
that they always forget. They're like
Yeah.
waving at me, like hi, and talking to me, and I'm like, yesterday you told me you hated me. And today you're like, I'm like, that was literally like 12 hours ago. Like, what
It's good to
happened?
keep them, good to hold them accountable for that, because it's social emotional learning that you can't just rip on someone and then expect them to be nice to you the next day. That was a big part of the post event interview thing for behavioral management was
Yeah.
that you all got to hold them accountable afterwards and be like, hey, do you think I deserve an apology or something? Like, because it seemed pretty rude to me, and I'm not really sure that you've been nice to me. And then they're like, oh, all right, yeah, no, what I did was wrong, and I apologize. And that's so yeah, hold them accountable.
Yeah.
Keep doing that.
Such a mess. Well, this show is going to be another one of those, hey, we are meeting up and we're doing a show, and we didn't have a lot of like things to plan out or a lot of time to plan because there's so many things going on. And honestly, I just want to get liquids and food into me all the time so that I can keep moving. And but I didn't want to do, I don't know, we haven't been looking at the numbers. Like, I haven't looked at the numbers at all, honestly. I just get
Oh,
them up there, I upload them. I don't know if anyone's watching or listening or anything at this point, but it's summer, and the structure we haven't got the rhythm from myself is all off. But I think last week when we did something about Maine news, I thought that was cool. So I thought we might do like at least 3 items. I can see if you've kept up with the news. I don't keep up with anything. I listen to it every morning, but it's
I've
just not so interesting.
I've actually honestly been doing well at staying ignorant and not actually looking into the news, because the news is a source of stress, or has been
Yeah.
for a long time. I'd say in a few years, and So I've been doing good at that. So it'll be cool. I'd like to see what's in the news, and it'll be a genuine reaction unless I've read it. I've seen it.
All right. And this is Maine public news, Maine public, anything, whatever state you're in, that public, whatever, is where you can get the news. And if you're out of country, a lot of these things have to do specifically with Maine. Actually, all these ones have to be specifically Maine. But a lot of things in the news right now, stuff with drugs, drug treatment programs. So one of these says Maine Department of Corrections will universally expand drug treatment program.
It sounds like a good idea. We're still in the middle of a opioid epidemic, and still have the battle of a lot of people say, natural selection, let them die or whatever. And I think that, this is, in some ways I see the point that, hey, it's a personal choice, but at some point I do see that it is also a disease for some people, and that for a lot of people, guilt isn't going to work. And so the majority of these people need something more substantive. And I think that we as a community owe it to people to put some research in the best methods, harm reduction, and taking care of our neighbors. I think that rugged individualism is a failed idea, and that community is something that needs to also take precedence when you live in a society. So it's like, we got to take care of the neighbors. Of course we can think about ourselves, but not at someone else's detriment. And if we can invest a little bit of money and help people our fellow Americans have productive and enriching lives, and help do something. That's doing something in itself for humanity. It'd be great to help them do something for humanity rather than just slowly, sink into.
And I always feel like this, it's like helping. If you help your neighbor, if you don't help your neighbor, their mess could end up being your mess, because it's going to expand. It's going to get out of control, and it's going to come in pretty soon. Like, if it has to do with drugs, I mean, it's going to be like kids or someone or something like that's going to get involved with it, or it's going to get over to like maybe someone goes to that person's house and wants to steal their drugs, and there's like a battle with guns, and people shoot. They don't understand where their bullets are going, and bullets are flying incredibly fast, and it shoots over to your yard and kills one of your animals or shoots you or something. I mean, honestly, it's like, you got to fix things, help people, because you got to expand your comfort zone, but also expand kind of like your environment to include others into it, because they can adversely affect you, or, directly or indirectly. So I almost feel like we can think of it in terms of like, don't be self-centered, or we can think about it, be so self-centered that you want not just the thing around you, not just your house. You want your property. You want the neighbor's property. You want your whole street. You want your city to be clean, because you expect it for yourself. You expect it to be up to this level, because you have a standard that your city needs to meet for your expectations. Think about it that way.
You just can't be hands off. You've got to be invested in it somehow. You can't pretend that you are an island when you're in the middle of a society. So I agree. We got to make these investments.
Tell a person, get out of my city. Stop panhandling in my city. You own the city?
Right.
Yes, you're within my vicinity, which is within 25 miles around wherever I am. So fix yourself, okay? Here's a drug program. Get some help. There you go. And here's something to eat. Oh, so there's something going on. I don't know. Are you keeping up with politics? Like, Maine Democrats tout transformational $1 billion spending plan. Governor Mills urges bipartisan agreement to expedite it.
Interesting. No, I have no idea what's in it. I couldn't even tell you. But I mean, sounds like a gigantic amount of money, and I hope they're doing the best that they can. But at this stage, luckily, I am kind of staying out of the political realm right now. I was a elected official up until last month, and so I have even bowed out of public politics for a while. So
it's about some sort of rescue plan, I think. But the funny thing is, I heard that, and this is a thing that happens with groups that vote on money and such.
Hmm.
everybody is like a stickler for when it's something in like money that they can understand. It's like, okay, we need to vote on $1 million going to build this bridge. Everyone's like, yeah, let's vote on it. Yeah, give them $1 million.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
need to vote on someone who's going to Wendy's $100 so we can all get French fries. Whoa. We need to argue about that. Like seriously, like when it's
Yeah.
money that everybody can understand because they can understand $100, they'll fight it. But when it's like $1 million, no one can really understand what $1 million like looks like and like
Yeah.
feels like to have. So
Isn't that one a
whatever. It's
billion?
yeah, they're just like, yeah, that one's a
Yeah.
billion. So I just feel like
Yeah.
people like, well, just you know what? It actually adds up to about 900,000. We're just gonna say a billion. Just
Yeah.
round it all the way up to a billion.
You see,
And
I can't make a opinion on it because I don't even know what last year's budget was, or the year before, or I don't
yeah,
really. So it's like you could immediately one, you could do two things. You could recoil and just be like, oh my god, what a wasteful! It's got to be terrible, just based on the billion
yeah.
mark, or you just be like, oh yeah, sure, sounds great. Like, what a bargain. Send it through
Yeah,
because I
like how
don't
much money do we
understand
have
how.
left? We have like 13 billion left. Okay, I guess
Yeah,
one's not so bad to give it away.
yeah. If you had
Meanwhile,
$13, would you like to spend one? Oh yeah, sure. I guess I could do that.
yeah,
Yeah,
then another
but
person's complaining like my tea from Starbucks costs how much? Did you get cold? I wanted cold soy milk, not the one where they foam it up. They charge extra money for that. And you're like, you just gave basically somebody like, 10 years without working money, basically. Somebody who
yeah,
can like, you paid for them to basically do nothing for 10 years by voting on this thing because indirectly maybe something's part of the bill that where someone doesn't
yeah.
work. I mean, there's always these weird things in the area like where did this get funded from? Well, we kind of worked it into this bill and they didn't find out. And so now basically we don't have to work and we get paid. And you're like, oh, okay, great. But then someone's going to complain about a tea being too much and like froth milk and stuff.
Yep.
It's just how things work. It's relations that people can relate. So, last one education officials encourage Maine families to fill out school meal applications or schools could lose funding.
Ah, yes. Yeah. It's a. So I think we now have the. Aren't we supposed to be giving all students breakfast and lunch
Yeah.
at school, and so they need the actual parents to respond and do something. But sometimes asking parents to do something for the school is like yelling into the void. You're just not going to get any sort of a return. Um, but it's also, I think they got to have demographics. I think they got to keep tabs on how many people actually need it or what the
Yeah. Yeah.
what the situation is. But um, parents got to do that stuff. I hope that they get the right participation rate because that's what the government does. That's what the testing is for. They got to see where to put the resources. And if you have a school that 50% of the people don't do a response to this thing, then how's the government going to know where to send the resources, the food, the money for the food, things like. And so, it's procedure and policy, but they're there for a reason. I think we should use this opportunity while we have it,
Yeah.
even if you don't necessarily like how much money it costs to feed these students. You still got to at least fill out that thing. It's not a way of bucking the system by not filling it out. You're really kind of just hurting yourself and your tax dollar efficiency if
Yeah, I just think it's
ignore these
if
things.
you really look into everything, I mean, I think a lot of places in the world, you can get a lot of things for free. If you're willing to be motivated, sometimes you have to say something nice about what someone gave you. Sometimes you just need to fill out a form because they're a nonprofit or whatever, and they want to make sure they get money because they get money to help you. So you need to prove that you're somebody who got helped, and then they can get the money, and they're going to give you free
Right.
stuff. Or it always works out. Like anybody out there who's listening to this, like you want some free things, look online. Look online, like local nonprofits that are in your area or whatever, organizations. They want to help you. They want to give free things away. They also might need you to say something nice about them. It could be as simple as social media, but it's free stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've got guitars here, but I probably could have got half of these things for free if I would have done certain things like, and just like, okay, great here. Oh, hey, here, we want to give you this guitar because you promote us and all this stuff. I mean, I look at all the things and all the money given away to people and stuff, and things are expensive. Food's expensive, and it seems like everybody gets free food nowadays. And I guess if you can get by without having to need your very specific item, or lifestyle that you have to lead, then you can get a lot of stuff for free. I mean, we can go to the state for college for free in the state for like the first year, completely paid for. I think college from Maine, basically is free for the first year. And I think you have kind of a lot of choices for the colleges you can go to. So
it's true. There are a lot of programs out there that just people are not aware of at all. And it's unfortunate there's no more advertising available for these health programs, but advertising is money, I guess. But wow. Yeah.
I know.
Good idea.
It's just so many things. Like, it's free, baby, everybody. So you want to talk about something, you had a bunch of like things to mention about stress. And I think that's definitely what I conveyed when we started today.
Yeah, there were two things I was going to mention, and number one was stress. So like, as we talk about on this podcast and blog, that of trying to live forever, life extension, or transhumanism. And I think that we are in two different camps this summer with stress. And now stress is good in certain situations. And of course, keeping yourself busy and active is always good, but there is a limit. And, being a physical being, you have limitations, and time is an eternal one. And so you can certainly do a lot with your day. Like Elon Musk says that like anything less than 80 hours a week isn't even worth it. However, I think that he can speak to that when someone else washes his dishes, takes care of his kids, and drives them around, or maybe he might drive around, but he has a pilot that flies him around at least, and so he can do a lot with his hours. Whereas, traditional people that are not, modern day Howard Hugheses, they have certain limitations because they have real life, real world, small stuff that accumulates and builds, everything from bringing the trash out to, having meaningful conversations with your children and all this stuff. And so there is a limit. And something I've been learning a lot of is that stress itself can cause physical symptoms.
Yeah.
And so I think part of the life extension, anyone's life extension or life prolonging, I guess everyone should have a life prolonging at least program, is a reduction of stress. And it's real. Like I reached a limit, and it started, my stress started manifesting physical symptoms in my body that now I have to deal with and take care of. And I have to, for the rest of my life, reduce and manage stress better, which is no small task. And it's just one of those things, but you've got to do it, because I tried for a long time to stuff 10 pounds of stuff in a 5-pound bag. That's what my phrase always is. But so that's just something I felt like I could mention. And right now it seems like you could use a real vacation.
Yeah. And now it's interesting because there's two books. I just finished Lifespan, David Sinclair, great longevity scientist.
Do they talk about stress management at all?
He does, but he also, there's this funny word that is known to biologists, and it's also coming up in another book I'm reading called Bulletproof, written by a Secret Service agent, about how to condition your body so that you can basically be on alert and be stronger and not have your fight or flight, automatic like response. You can change the response that you naturally have, and you can think in terms of like incredible stress.
Interesting.
And this is funny word that kind of goes against a little bit of like not having stress. It's called hormesis, or hormetic response. And basically it just means that your body you're going to have more favorable conditions to your body if you have a little bit of stress on and off, but like constantly having something, and the stress can't be something that you get used to. So there's an amazing podcast aside from this one, everybody, called Huberman Lab, and he talks about this. He talks about when people want to lose weight and they think of this, well, I'm going to do this thing where I get cold and I take an ice bath and that'll help me lose weight. He says, yeah, but you have to shiver. You have to get to the point where you shiver, and it has to be a certain amount of time that these, things happen in your body to make sure you stay alive. And that's going to actually do something so it can actually metabolize some of that excess energy that you have. And it literally is about constantly, I mean, in biology, hormesis talks about toxins in your body. Having a little bit of this toxin in your body gives you a more favorable response because your body's on alert to like fight this thing. So it's just an interesting way of like, I think you found your limit of stress where you're like, wow, I can't go to this limit. And your body's like, I'm breaking.
Or I don't think that's a limit of my stress. I think what it was like the limit of stress by that management method.
Yeah.
Which was poorly managed, like just poorly managed stress completely. And so, now I got to recover from that and figure out how to better manage it, because I feel like, Secret Service agents, stuff like that is what I was talking about is with my doctors. Like, I don't feel like I have this enormous amount of stress. Like, I'm not running a bunch of companies. I'm not doing these big things. But, after just my own research, that's what it is, I think, is just different management styles. And that makes sense because, like, my parasympathetic nervous system or my fight or flight is just constant all day. Oh, I'm supposed to be there. Oh, gotta go do this, run around, just constant. And so that put a bunch of too much stuff in there. Adrenaline, just like, burning through stuff that it didn't need to burn through, and raising my heartbeat for no reason whatsoever, and not in a good way like exercise does, And so that makes sense. I'd have to probably check that out. I'll add it to the reading list right now. Where is it? So it's over there. I'm reading the Catching the Fire, or what was it?
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's going pretty good.
But yeah, I feel like, I never know until you get some sort of like response that your body has that you don't like.
Yeah.
It could be getting a little bit of a cold, or it could be, just something where you're like, why am I so tired? Every day I wake up and I do this and I'm dead today. I can't do anything. I can't get my head in the game. What's going on? And your body just doesn't have a response like it normally does. And you go, what the heck is going on? And then you go, maybe I'm just like, my body's not able to handle it this way. Did I change something? What happened? And of course you can't always expect your body to follow that schedule and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to act the way you always want me to act.
Right.
It's just things change, but
a lot of stimuli that comes in daily that, might not seem like a lot, but it builds and builds, subconsciously and stuff. It changes things. And so it's all about working with that stress, especially if you want to do big things in the world like we do. It's why we stay busy. It's why we stayed busy this past year and a half, is because we were doing big things in our classrooms and doing our best to counter the effects of all of this craziness of this past year. So we did our best to counter that. And the way that I did that was by working almost twice as much per week. And just, if there was a problem that needed to be solved, all right, well, I'll just lose sleep and solve the problem. I'll just put more hours in. I'll just try harder. I'll just keep digging. And, without a good management system of stress, then that can cause problems. And I think so what was the word? Hormesis. Yeah, interesting.
So you said you had two things. That was one of the things.
That was one of them, and the other one is so recently there's been some news about space travel.
Oh yes.
Fun. So Richard Branson has had a company called Virgin Galactic since around 2004. Their stated goal was to put someone into suborbital space flight within 10 years, and that didn't happen at all. They did. The test pilots, I think they had a test pilot up within the first 10 years, but not passengers. So the first flight had Richard Branson on it and 3 other passengers in the cabin with 2 pilots up front, and flew a space plane to about 81 miles high. And depending on how you look at depending on the science that you follow, depends on if you consider that space flight or not. I don't think it's a big deal, but some scientists and other people are making it a big deal.
Because it's not, it was 52 miles up, and it's not 60 at the whatever, Kemper line or whatever it's called.
Carmen Line. So
Carmen
the
Line,
Carmen Line. Yeah. So the United States, they followed like a 50-mile rule. Anything above 50 miles is considered space flight for a long time. So so that's why like Neil Armstrong earned his astronaut wings in a plane, not on Gemini, his first space flight. So isn't that interesting? But like he flew a rocket plane up past the 50-mile line. They called him an astronaut. And so there was a couple of suborbital flights. There was Alan Shepard and I think Gordon Cooper. So there were 2 suborbital rocket flights. And then it was just sort of like people, like by that time, Russia had more than, I think, 2 people already orbit the Earth. And so we kind of looking like fools, just sticking to the suborbital stuff, because orbit is an order of magnitude harder than getting to space. So getting to space is easy, but staying in space is difficult.
Yeah.
So that's what orbit is. And so the reason why this is such a big deal is, one, the height issue. Richard Branson says 80 miles is space, like that's it. Well, then you got Jeff Bezos, his spacecraft. He has another suborbital spacecraft, something that isn't a big deal. Nobody has ever really tried to do a suborbital thing before, because it's not orbit. You're not staying in space. There's not really much you can do in the few minutes that you're actually there.
Yeah.
So he's got Blue Origin, so a competitor. He released a launch date of July 20th this month, and then on hearing that, Richard Branson moved up his flight date, because he had already established one that was later, to like a couple days ago. And so immediately this feud was now born, because it was like, who's going to be the first billionaire to self-fund themselves to space, basically. And then they rope in Elon Musk, who honestly is light years ahead of these guys. Like he's doing stuff that they can't even conceive of. And so they roll him in, and now people, because of this feud, it's public. They're going, all these billionaires, going to space, like, why aren't they doing more down here? What's the purpose of going? Like, I don't know, these people are consumed with the anti-billionaire agenda, which I actually get that. I can understand that. But they're focused on these 3 who happen to actually be doing pro-humanity things. Yeah. So I just find that baffling. But so I'll mention that point in a minute. But one of the things so people have always said to me, there's always one in every crowd that's just sort of like, do we really need to spend the money to go to space? I even had a student say this to me once.
I had to write a paper on it, and it was from Neil deGrasse Tyson's speech, and the person goes, you made a great point. I still don't think we should go to space. And this is a professor that wrote to me and said that, and I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, so it's like, so people see it as, all right, resources going into space programs. They think, because ultimately going to space is us getting humans into space, traveling, exploring, being knowledgeable about what's in space. And eventually that's where we have to go to keep humanity alive. And people don't think of that. That part doesn't even exist in those people's minds. But they say, well, all that money going into space should be better spent here on Earth, because we've got a lot of problems here on Earth. Well, we've always had a lot of problems here on Earth. And imagine, like, Columbus or, any of the other earlier explorers. I almost think that it would be better off if they did have this argument. But back then, imagine if they were like, yeah, so there might be this new continent, but like, maybe we shouldn't spend all this money, Princess Isabella, or Queen Isabella, maybe we should spend this money here in Spain and like help people, and well, they did help people, or that was the goal, was to go and get more riches, bring it back, and as a country grow. Of course, it was mostly the monarchy that would have received the benefits of that, but that's another argument altogether. But like, so yeah, the people are like saying, let's spend this money, instead of going to space, let's spend it here, as if those two things have to be mutually exclusive. Why not have a plan where you try to save the Earth and try to extend into space. And that's actually what Elon Musk has.
Yeah.
So he got into the electric car company, and one of the biggest things about electric cars is that they are way easier on the environment than your average car. After driving it, after you construct an electric car, their carbon footprint is a little bit higher than the average car. But after you drive them for a few years, they just completely, are worth more than the effort put in. So he's got Tesla and re-energizing the entire transportation system, and Solar City. What he was a big investor in, and now the Tesla solar tiles. So sustainable transportation, sustainable energy production. He also does neural net or whatever, which is trying to help people with neurological conditions live normal lives. So like if you have a brain issue, you can get an implant and it fixes like the neural pathways, and say you have paralysis or something, you regain the function of those limbs all of a sudden. So like he is doing things that are pro-humanity, and so is SpaceX. SpaceX, the mission is to get a city on Mars. That's the stated goal. And so to get there, they've got to make money. So they put satellites into space at a price that's far more reasonable than another country can even come close to. And now they're going bigger to go to Starship. They're going to go to the moon, and then they're going to go to Mars and start the city. That is pro-humanity. That's the backup plan. Like there's at any moment somebody can push a few buttons and nuclear holocaust has begun. And one way to make sure we stay alive is to get off the rock, go to another one, start over, and become different colonies. That's just what we've done before. And so it's like these people are trying to say, you know what, why does your school offer baseball when they already have football? Why do they have hockey or lacrosse or soccer? Like kids only need one sport. Let's be efficient here. Let's not give choice. Let's prevent your children. No, they're football players. If they're interested in sport, let's just make them play football. It's like people are making that same argument by saying, let's get these engineers, these space engineers, science, or like mechanical engineers, electrical engineers. Why aren't they interested in water, clean water, water filtration, and nutrition, and like creating food in arid conditions, to help everybody? And it's like one science is not the same as the other. One sport isn't the same as another. You don't get to just take a scientist that could design the most incredible rocket engine ever and make him create the best water filter ever. Like that's not how it works. You don't get to just take that energy. It's not a computer, it's a person. And so it doesn't make sense on that either. And I don't understand why people are focusing on these three while they're letting all the petrochemical companies and plastics manufacturers get away. They're all billionaires too, but only these three are in the news and getting all this anti, science sentiment, because these people don't understand that these other billionaires are just staying quiet, behind the scenes, making their billions and just letting everyone else take the flack, and they're laughing their way all the way to the bank. So I don't know. It's something I saw recently that I had to vent about.
Yeah, I know. I hate that when people are mentioning, like, listen, we're not even a type 1 civilization. We don't even have all the resources on this planet used, used to a good advantage. We're always finding, oh man, look at these new plants we didn't know in the Amazon. There's like 600,000 that we don't know about. Great. We need to make some more modern medicines. We got to study them. Why not? Why have we done that? We should be studying everything. We should have drones flying over, artificial intelligence, looking at things, testing, robots testing stuff. I mean, seriously, we're really slow at all of this stuff because we let all these ethics and morals, and I mean, I don't even want to go into that, but I'm not talking about like quality ethics and morals. I'm talking about like watered down and faith-based things that are just basically forcing people to go up against a brick wall, and they're afraid to look over even though it's a wall they put up themselves. And that's basically what it is. And we don't have this unknown. We don't know anything about it, but we don't want to go there either because we're pretty sure we're not supposed to go there. Well, guess what? We're supposed to go there because this is our planet and we're people that are on it, and we have a finite life, which shouldn't be the case, right? Lifespan readers. We shouldn't have a finite life. We should end aging, this horrible disease that we all
If
have.
it can be ended, it should be ended, and
We have a lot of things to do. And it's the worst thing I hate is someone who's like in their 80s and they're finally getting to do what they're the thing they've studied their entire life, the research they did is finally yielding fruit. And then they die. And their information that they have up here, no book, no notes, no recorded lecture can give anybody what was up there in their mind. That person can look at something and instantly have a solution to a problem. But they can't teach somebody to get to that point. No, anybody else who gets to that point is going to have to go do it until they become 80 years old, and then they're going to have the same fate. It takes a long time to assess all the information we have on this planet, and even just in any subject you want to like actually make a considerable difference. And we need to make this faster. But in order to do that, we also need to live longer.
Yep.
Or take those
Get more out of
pills where we can, have our brain work faster and more efficient and all this stuff, and hopefully without any side effects that could actually hurt us.
Yeah.
But that doesn't exist, everybody. That's fiction.
Yeah, there's plenty of people trying to sell you those pills, but they don't work.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, download it into your cup of water. All right.
USB outlet in this new bottle of water. Just buy this new bottle for $100.
Everybody wants a simple, and I said this in a linguistic class I'm currently taking. Everybody wants a simple answer. They want this origin story, and they want this argument, or they want a solution that is simple, right? Physics wants that one unifying theory that just everything comes together. It makes everything fit. It's perfect. It's the jigsaw. It fits everything together. Every subject wants that. No subject has that. And I don't think anyone's going to actually get that, because it's just going to be, it's infinite, infinitely small, infinitely large. That's the entire existence. Everything can go infinitely small down to a Planck length, which is like, a guesstimate of what the smallest thing ever could be. Quantum foam. Yeah. And then infinitely large. I mean, look how large the universe is, and it's expanding. Makes no sense. Light years, we could never live to travel 1 light year. How long is what?
Not in current calculations, or basically current technology, not even a chance. So
yeah, 1 light year would be, is that like how long?
186,000 miles per second times 365 days. So I mean, a light year in distance. So actually, I can do this.
Yeah, this is great. So this is just
186,000 miles per second, and there's 60 seconds per minute. How many minutes? 60 minutes per hour. That's 24 times 365. So 5.8657 with 12 zeros following. Yeah. So let's see, 5, 8, 6, 5,
need some crazy
7,
math up in here.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. Now, so I think we could figure this out. So it would be hundreds, thousands, millions, billions, trillions, quadrillions. So 58.6 quadrillion miles.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 58.6 quadrillion miles.
1 light year.
1 light year is yeah.
And so, that's the funny thing is, people, we measure on this earth like 1 year is a long time. 1 light year is a really, really long time, guys, because light is insanely fast. So
and one quadrillion is like, if there was $1 quadrillion, that's more than all of the money in all of the nations on Earth. Like, if that more dollars than the whole Earth. So if that could put quadrillions into perspective, 58.6 of them, convert that to miles. So it's like
grains of sand that exist on the planet.
Yeah. So, a light year is just, I mean, that's back of the napkin math. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. If anyone's out there and I'm wrong, please let me know. But I mean, I mean, I vocalized my thought process. So if my thought process is off, let me know. But yeah, wow, that's a lot of mileage.
I know, which is why we need to live,
Yeah,
infinitely, and so that we can. Even still, it's going to be like it's crazy. It's crazy. There's so many things out there to explore. Watch an explore movie. I mean, this is the thing for any listener. Watch a movie that maybe you liked as a kid. I was saying The Explorers is a great movie as a kid. Maybe even The Goonies. I mean, just what is it to be a cheesy 80s film, whatever, depending on what age you are. Watch any film that you like that has a big explorers. It could be Interstellar.
yeah.
Watch some explorer movie and get that sense of like you're like excited, like wow, they're going into the unknown. They're exploring something that's unknown.
And
And
there's this.
we need that.
Yes, we do need that, and that's a big thing. Like people are missing out on like why go to space? Well, like why climb a mountain? Why sail across an ocean? Why go to a North Pole or South Pole? Because it's there. We're humans, and like we gain through on awareness, and that was part of the foreword in the book, Carrying the Fire.
Yeah.
The foreword is by Charles Lindbergh,
Yeah.
very interesting writer. Like his words, and just he's very interesting. I'd like to read more from him. But he said that was the quote, is that humans advance themselves through awareness. So anything that can create a better awareness of where we are by nature is something that's good for humanity. So of course exploration inherently is an important part of humanity. So yeah, we just got to do it. We got to like continue with that explorative spirit. And like one of my favorite people, well, my favorite books was Into the Wild,
Yeah.
and the main character Chris, he had a saying that said, it's like he was talking about the adventurous spirit within a man person. Um, the adventurous spirit is so important, and the only thing that kills adventurous spirit is having a stable future. And like, so if we're just focused here on Earth and just stabilize this, and we lose that adventurous spirit, we're losing that part of humanity that is so critical to how we even got here in the first place. So
And we're losing hormesis, basically. If
yeah,
you don't have to get off your butt and go to the refrigerator to get a cold drink because it's hot out, and you just have the drink appear in your hand, you're basically not this. You need to get a little bit of pain. You need to get some chaos in your life. You need to get some entropy. You need to get some stress, like enough so that you're motivated to do something. Motivation, which I think we're lacking in our schools, but that can be a whole other podcast about kids that aren't motivated, parents that aren't motivated, and that we basically are helping them not to be motivated. And we're rewarding them for not being motivated when we should probably be ostracizing them, because we actually want things to actually happen and people to be resilient. We need to create that stress and not be afraid of creating that. But we've created a society now that's, afraid, and the weak shall inherit the earth, right?
yep,
It's not right. We should be, and it has nothing to do with alpha, this or that. It has to do with being able to be motivated and have the stress to be motivated so you can make the world a better place. And it's going to help others when you're motivated. But if you're not motivated, people shouldn't be telling you, you're doing a great job. No, don't work too hard. You're so good. You're doing a great job. Hey, it looks perfect. Great. That's good enough. No, it's not good enough, because you have no one to push you. You need someone to push you and critique you, and you need to be able to
yep.
take it. And that's the big thing. We're afraid that no one can take it. I think people can take it. We just need to start giving it out.
Well, especially in schools, we're hesitant to be a certain way like that. But in real life situations will force you just like that's what I was gonna focus on, like with my students, is that in the real world will catch up to you someday, especially if you're just being lazy and not
Yeah.
doing anything. It's you miss a payment on your insurance, get into a crash, you have no insurance. There's no teacher, in the background that's going to be like, they're going to stress you out for a little while and then be like, you know what, never mind, we're just going to let this all go away. Your life, go back to normal. No, you're going to be stuck in that for years, dealing with the financial, and depending on how bad the accident was, the other repercussions of dealing with that situation. You miss a few payments on your rent, get an eviction notice.
Yeah.
Life will catch up to you. So like there's real world consequences. So we should bring some of those into the school and help prepare these people for.
I mean, as an example, I have a 4-way stop where I live, and it literally seems like half or 1/3 of the times that I actually show up to that 4-way stop, someone, at least one person, doesn't understand how a 4-way stop works.
Yeah.
And they just go gunning, and you're like, not every, who stopped in what order? And they just didn't get taught that, or maybe the person that whatever was teaching them just was like lazy that day and didn't want to talk about that or whatever. And it's just, wow.
I think it's people forgot about it. And there's two types. There's these people that are just like, why do I care about these people? They're not me. And well, I got here and I'm not like I'm going to pay attention to them. Like I'm just going to go. And, then sometimes they got consequences, right? And they pull out in front of people. But then you got the other people that are trying to be too nice and screw it up for everyone else.
Yes. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm all set.
I'm like, no, you're effing with the rotation. Like, what do you like? Don't do this to me.
Like we had in our head that when we go, we're number 3 in line, and now you create it so we're either number 4 or we 2. Like we don't know when to go now. Are you going to be nice to me, or someone waves me ahead and then they start driving and you go, I don't understand what you want.
There are 2 times recently that people have waved me ahead. And if I followed their niceness, I would have been potentially killed in one situation because it would have caused a T-bone into my door from the other direction.
Yeah.
And it's just, they're not like observing and being like concerned for my safety. What they're doing is going like, I'll stop and let you go. Okay. Like, and then no one else is knowing the special deal that's happening between these 2 people. Everyone else is following the rules as normal. And then you pull out and boom.
I want a digital LED sign in the front of my car so I quickly Alexa, whatever, yell out something and it can be put out there so people can see it. It's so much. I don't know why cars don't have that yet.
I know you can get them on Amazon. I'll guarantee it. You can get that.
Just hey, Amazon. You can go, and it says you can go.
One in the back, one in the front, whatever.
You go first. Red car next. Boom.
Yeah.
Don't cross the street. I'm looking at the person. I'm like, don't cross the street. There's a truck coming, and it says it right in front. They read that. I go, okay, I didn't see that. Yes, good job. Because I try to yell and stuff like that. I mean, you can't do a lot of things in a car. You see the movies of people shooting at each other. Try shooting through a windshield. I mean, I haven't done it, but that's pretty hard. And try to drive a car and lean out and shoot. I mean,
shooting through a windshield means that your bullet does not go where you want it to, and just
so I just people realize that cars are really could be redesigned so that you could do a lot more. You need to be able to use your hands, and they can't see you in the car. And if the hand on the side like this, that doesn't mean anything.
Future technologies with autopilot stuff, then you can use your hands and.
I still don't know what the middle finger means. I don't get that. Only in Massachusetts would I get that possibly. That's a joke that Mainers tell everybody. So just saying, Maine and Massachusetts.
Regional joke.
Massachusetts used to own Maine. I guess it was their property, and now we
decided that they were too far away and didn't represent us. It was sort of like a mini.
It's a mini Civil War sort of thing. Yeah.
No, not a
Revolutionary War.
But a mini Declaration of Independence sort of thing, and then it was solved without going to war.
So anytime they see that license
I think we're all better for it. New Hampshire's in the middle, keep us separate,
Yeah, New Hampshire's like, easy, everybody. Come on, I know you only want to go through me to get that one turnpike, that one toll, right? We charge as much money as we possibly can. Yeah. And you fly through and go to Massachusetts and scream the entire way going underneath these things in Boston. So, all right, everybody. I know we spent a lot of time complaining, but this is summer. And it's not an ideal summer, and at least in my situation, but
it's not ideal. This is not ideal for me either. I would like to be in a situation where I could be making extra money. Again, for teachers, the reason why we work in the summer is because basically the way teaching works is that you get kind of just get paid less because of the summer break, is how I feel. I think that's the reason why negotiations get stalled sometimes. People are like, oh, you've got the summer break. So we have to make up for that by getting summer jobs, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. I just wish that the stress of life would slow down, and with technology and future shock happening, I don't think that that'll be, I think it's unreasonable for me to expect anything to slow down in the near future. So gotta try to manage it. And so yeah, not ideal for me, not ideal for you. So we'll keep working at it. Maybe by next time we'll be onward to some better things.
Yeah, just get more gains. Gotta have some focus somewhere. All right, I'm Mr. James.
I'm Mr. Richie.
And we are the educators. Have fun, night, day, whatever, enjoy it. Keep thinking.